Hey, what's up guys? Zombie Grub here, coming at you from, or for, Underrated Gaming, bringing you some non-casted Team League games. You know, these weren't on the schedule, but they were played, and I'm going to go ahead and cast a few, and then Fear will go ahead and cast the latter if all goes to plan. But I have got for you right now, the first clan war that I will be casting for you will be between Fin Gaming and Crown Gaming. And we're going to have a ZVT on our hands right here, and spawning in the top right on Cloud Kingdom, GSL Cloud Kingdom that is, we do have BNY Candide. I think he just goes by Candide though. At least that's what I did my research on, and that seems to be his official nickname. Spawning on the top right as the Blue Zerg, and his opponent, Optic Dream, the bottom left as the Purple Terran. Now, I am actually from the DC area, and Finn is majority made up of people from the DC area, so I actually know, out of all the teams, actually, I probably know this one the best, and I actually sat next to Optic Dreaming, or Optic Dream, that is, for at least a few minutes before his computer just completely freaked out, and at the recent DC LAN, but he's pretty good. You should see his hand speed. It's all over the keyboard. It's pretty sick. But anyways, that aside, I'm just kind of like dropping names here and stuff, pretending I'm like really famous, and I'm not. But it's really nice being next to people who are really good at the game and just seeing what they can do, and how you compare to them and how you're not actually that great. But that's always a wonderful feeling to have, right? Anyways, looks like it's going to have an Optic Dream is going to go ahead and go for the 14cc. No, actually goes to 15 because it is going to be denied for the from the drone for at least a little bit, but then he goes ahead and puts it down. The other option was to, of course, just go ahead and put it down anywhere else and then lift it off later, but either way, it's probably the same mining time lost and whatnot. I know Flash did it once, and the casters were like, oh yeah, you can do that as Darren, can't you? But anyways, Candide is going to go ahead and try and scout as much as possible, and I does know there's a 14cc, so that tells a lot already, but you know, the more you know for the longer that you know, it's really great, especially as Zerg, being that reactive race, really wants to know what's going on. And since he has scouted that 14cc, he's going to go for a very, very early third, against a Terran player at least. It's very, very early. And oh my god, it's before pool! Whoa, that's really early. This is really dangerous, but you know, he got a good scout on. He saw the 14cc. He's only one barracks right now, so he's probably thinking, I can get away with this if I play my cards right. And he probably will, so this probably will be quite a nice macro game, unless Optic Dream does like a 2-base Marauder Hellion all in, which is always possible. Don't get me wrong. Looks like the drone actually forced the pull off from the SCV. He's putting another one on, but he needs to grab even another SCV. Yeah, because the Marine's actually coming out. He's actually banking on this finishing to lift the supply cap, so yeah, I need to bring another SCV down and go ahead and get rid of that pesky little drone. And the command center finally finishes, but it does buy him an extra, you know, 2-3 seconds, bigger economical advantage for the Zerg player. And we did see that the gas, now another additional gas is coming down when the factory does, you know, really standard timing for those 111 builds. And this is a 111 after command center, just a little more delayed because of that 14cc. And it's just going to be factory right now. Reactor Hellions, probably going to get some Banshees in there. It's a very popular style lately. It's very fun to watch and pretty fun to play. Yesterday we were actually talking about my other cast, and the other URTL cast, and how it's just, you know, not many people can really just stop it in its tracks. It actually is, you know, it usually does some damage. You know, you run the Hellions in or whatnot, and you can get some damage done, or at least mess the Zerg up a little bit in terms of their mental focus and their larva injects and stuff like that. So it's a fairly, really, actually, I'd say it's a really good opener. A lot of Terran players are doing it, and that's kind of like their standard go-to if they plan on playing a macro game. And we do see that starport coming down, so that's pretty much what it's going to be. This bunker positioning, pretty good. You know, either there or there. Kill the supply depot, build your own supply depot wall. It can also be very, very fancy. But he's going to go ahead and just build it right here. The first Hellions are coming out right now. And what do we have back on the Zerg side of the base? We do have, whoa, looks like he's going for, no, 5 queens actually. So, not 4, not 6, but 5, which is perfectly fine. Has he gotten the scout off on the factory is the question. No, he did see the gas though. So Factory's probably what he's thinking's coming up, and then, like I said, this the factory starport style has gotten pretty popular, so he could actually just go ahead and blind counter it if he wished. Looks like he's not, but he is going to prep for at least Hellions with an additional queen. And the creep does get down. Oh, and the Hellions just slip right through there. Those queens out there were blocking, and they were not. And this is what you can do. Look, he has no Zerglings on the field because he got 5 queens and really droned up really heavily with that early third. So these drones get in, they do some damage. They may not kill a whole lot because 3 do not one-shot. Oh, well, they one-shotted that one, so maybe I'm wrong. 3 do one-shot, apparently. And, well, he does a lot of damage right there. I mean, let's check exactly how much. 13 damage for what, 6 Hellions? Or 13 drones in damage for 6 Hellions. That's pretty good. 14 more drones are on the way though, so that larva that just popped went directly into drones after that. And you know, Optic Dream probably thinks he's in a pretty good spot. He's getting that 3rd command center before any other additional buildings. The Overlord is not going to scout it, but it is going to see a lack of additional barracks or factories if he's going that mech style, so a 3rd might be in his mind for that. And oh, he actually does not have the necessary preparations for a cloaked Banshee, and just now getting his evos or his spores down. I'm messing up all over the place. I don't know where my head is tonight, but I'll try and get better without the clan war. It is a best of 7, by the way, guys, so we could see up to 7 games depending on how it goes. Optic Dream actually losing that Banshee unnecessarily. You actually can't 1-1 a spore crawler with a Banshee, unfortunately. I wish. But he does lose it. He still has another one out in the field trying to do what he can with it. The Hellion's still out there denying that creep from going any farther. And wow, they actually denied it really, really well. As you can see, he took out the main tumors, so he needs to plant some entirely new ones, which is really bothersome for a Zerg player. So this is just, you know, what you're supposed to do with this style. If you can get the drone kills, great. If you can just harass them and mess them up a little bit, also fine. And it's really nice, and it's really fun to watch, and as you can see, we're going to have a little tense moment right here, but no, there are a lot of lings. Slow lings, yes, but they are about to have speed, so they actually could have tricked the Hellions and tried to surround them, but that didn't happen. But they did their job, they plugged that hole right there, and it is a really nice wall off right here. The Hellions' chance of getting through that are fairly low now, but the 3rd is always open for harassment. And the Banshee is not gonna die, almost did though. That Queen and Spore combination is pretty deadly to Banshees. Back on the Terran side, he's just been macking up for serious. Actually gonna go ahead and repair the Hellions, I really like that. I really don't think enough Terran players go ahead and repair these units. You know, once they say, okay, I'm going in a bio or marine tank like he is, they usually go, Hellions, you know, they're good, but whatever. And they throw them away unnecessarily. They can really help out when you decide to push against Zerglings. And they're always useful to have to go ahead and scout and deny that additional creep. And as you can see, the creep not being spread anymore, which is really very poor for the Zerg player. He really wants to get the creep out as far as possible before any initial pushes come out. And if he does, he feels like a lot safer. Now his economy is looking pretty good at 56, almost 60 drones right now, a few more popped. He does want to go up a little higher though before he really, you know, stops droning. But he is going to go for that lair, and wow, 10 creep tumors just popped. I looked, that was impressive. And 11 more drones actually, so he feels pretty safe. His last scout has been a while ago, but he knows that this harassment's still going on. And oh, wow, catching all these Hellions. Oh, perfect use of those additional Hellions. You load them up in the first 2 medevacs, they're pretty deadly. I love it. He does lose 1 medevac though, which kind of sucks. Might lose the second one, no. Just barely getting on a range of that one. Wants to repair that for sure. His medevac count is fairly low right now, although not as important as if the Zerg player was going for that Infestor style immediately, but still, medevacs are pretty good. You want them against Mutalisk, and that is what Candide is going. Candide? Candide? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Candide, from what I know of the English language, I suppose. And oh, actually, Marauder slow on the way. Generally, you know, some Terrans just wait until they actually see Infestors to go ahead and get that slow, but it is just 50-50, not a whole lot when you're on 3 bases, so if you're gonna, you know, start pouring in some 1 or 2 Marauders, it's probably worth it. Not the best against, like, billions of Lings, obviously, but still. The off chance it slows down the Baneling, great. You need everything you can get, really. And that is a lot of Banelings. That is quite a few banelings, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and for a counterattack as he sees this army going off to the left side. And yeah, Terran player has to go back. He really doesn't have enough down here. Not even the bunker was finished, and these Marines are definitely not going to be enough if he brought the entirety of his lings, but he doesn't. This should be cleaned up, though. He should decide, you know, to go home soon. No, he's going to take out the remaining Marines. I like combine those two words right there. And he will lose all the lings, but, you know, how much damage did he do? 6 down for this, you know, handful of lings, and he forced the push back. I consider that worth it, because that was going to be a scary push. It was really going to, it was at least going to deny his his mining for a little bit. Could have gotten the third or the fourth if he was underprepared. So, you know, pulling that back, buying some more time, it's pretty good. Now, he did go for a Spire, and I know he did. Very good. There it is. But he didn't get any Mutalisk. I'm not sure what the decision is on that. Maybe he saw the composition and said Mutalisk would not be the greatest against this. I'm not sure. It's pretty bold to go for that. No, never mind. Actually, we're going to have a huge surround. The tanks are not sieged up. There are so many banelings just rolling in right there. And plenty of leftover lings. So this entire attack is going to go down. And he didn't lift up anything. Oh. He really should have lifted up something. Yeah, he doesn't even know about the Mutalisk, so it's not like he should be afraid that there's going to be anti-air, because obviously the Infestors would have been lagging way behind. So yeah, I really wish he would have picked up right there, but you know, I'm the observer. I'm not in the thick of things where it's really difficult to think about those things, so all is forgiven. But this does put the Zerg player in a pretty nice position. He's feeling pretty confident right now. He pretty much completely squashed it and even had a few gas units and things left over for a little counterattack that did fail, but even after that counterattack, he still has a few left. So that's good. Both of his bases get up perfectly fine. His drone count is looking good at 72. And, well, his infestor count is going to go up to 11 right now, so that's pretty impressive. His upgrades are also going to be finished at 2-2, I believe. No. Oh, okay. Because drones don't have attack. My bad. It's going to be at 2-2, or no, 2-1. Alright, so I was correct. He is actually lagging behind on one upgrade, but not the worst thing in the world. And Hive doesn't seem to be on his mind quite yet, actually getting Burrow at his lair right now, so at least a few seconds longer until it decides, should I go for that earlier lair, or go ahead and end the game, or Hive, and go ahead and, or go ahead and aim, oh my god, end the game with just lair tech. Oh my gosh. Speaking of lair tech and finishing the game like that, it's really interesting, but Dongagu actually thinks that ending the game at lair tech is actually very, very powerful. He's starting to, like, you know, having disillusions with the whole Hive power army, which is a pretty nice way to look at things after the metagame that's been going on lately. Oh, one infestor just goes down immediately, but oh, a huge fungal right there. Oh, that was really nice. Unfortunately, Optidream just not splitting quite in time, and now this is the point where he cannot pick up. He has to need to be very, very careful. These still have a lot of fungals on them, and if he loses all of his medevacs, that's also no good for Terran player. Does our Terran player actually have a fourth on the way? Oh, it doesn't look like it. He has a 3-3 on the way, which is pretty good considering that the Hive just started for the Zerg. Oh, finally. Oh, I was getting worried there for a second, and I was like, you better not put all your eggs in one basket, man. I think your attacks aren't doing so well. Might want to think about going into the late game. And he is, so that is good to see. Also getting additional factory to really start that double tank production, which I like very much, especially up until they get a Hive. When they get Hive, tanks might not be as useful if they decide to go for that Greater Spire. But until then, or if they do go for Ultralisk, it's an optimal choice. And, you know, 3 base, fully saturated with a 4th on the way, should be able to afford it. He's pushing once again up the same position. I'm surprised he hasn't really tried to break any other positions as of yet. And he's really clumping up very, very dangerously. I mean, that was built on the low ground as well, so Infestors really could have gotten him there. And I'm looking around the map for some drops in case I missed some earlier and I'm just not catching them, but I do not see any. It's very, you know, 1-to-1. He's just trying to bull his way through the 4th, but I don't think it's going to work. I mean, look at this 5th. It's entirely undefended. The creep has not been pushed out. He should really start thinking about going someplace else besides this fourth, or at the very least, just really being very careful with it. Oh, and speaking of being careful, it's a good thing he scanned right there, and that scan was probably barely in radius of those banelings. That could have really hurt. Very smart by Candide, though. He noticed that's where most of the army has been in all these engagements, so 4 banelings there, easy peasy, dead Marines. Cleaning up the creep right here. He's gonna need to split. Oh my god. Here it goes, actually. Just following this up. The 2 tanks are not sieged, and there is a slight flank right here. Infestors need to actually just get out of there quick. They try and do some more fungals, but really the Lings and the Banelings should be able to clean this up, and they do. And once again, Candide just completely destroying these armies. I mean, just keeps on getting thrown. These balls just hits them out of the park like no problem. And it's I don't know, like it just seems like Candide has like really comfortable, is really comfortable against the style of play that Optic Dream is throwing at him. So, you know, Candide just probably just feeling nice and happy right here. Now the Spire is finally going into effect right here. Greater Spire is on the way, as well as Adrenal Glands and 3-3. All the gas coming into effect here, and he does have a lot of gas. Now these 2 gases have just come up, which is a little unfortunate, but he still has 600 in the bank, so not the biggest deal. And now he's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, 10 gas geysers. That's a lot of gas. Even, you know, spining this up in case any little tiny run-bys go on there. What do you call them, run-bys if it's from a Terran player? I don't know, like little tiny attacks, I guess. Well, actually, speaking of run-bys, no, this is actually most of the Zerg army just in Zerglings. Not a planetary, surprisingly. Oh, and some burrowed lings. Doesn't need quite that many, but hey, you kind of just drag and burrow whatever you can, right? Oh, and it's actually gonna almost kill a Marine. No, it doesn't quite get it. That was actually pretty smart, but it didn't quite reach these Zerglings, so that was actually really cool to see. Using that Marine to get the splash on the Zerglings, that was fancy. But he still has, you know, despite all these fancy little tricks that Optic Dream is showing us, he still has the main problem of the Zerg's main army. Now, Optic Dream's macro has been really good. Each time, his army has really just been battered down with the Infestors left over and some Zerglings left over, and he just keeps coming back. I mean, he's maxed right now, and that's like 3 armies that went down, and this is, I think, is his 4th one, so really surprising to see him just gain 100, oh, here he goes. He's actually trying. No, bad idea. Good idea? Not sure. That was actually a weird little scenario that went down there. The Broodlord was just finishing right there, so it was kind of awkward for Optic Dream. Now, there are no Corruptors out right now, and oh, actually, Ling Run By completely killed that second. Sorry about missing that. And oh, Fungals all over the place. Oh, well, that was the last max army, apparently, from Optic Dream, so... Candide just, you know... Optic Dream's macro was really good. In hindsight, but Candide just, you know, played that ZVT like no problem, like he did it every day, which he probably does play a lot of games, but oh my god, look at the, yeah, he was running out of money, his command center went down, they could have gotten into the main, yeah, he was getting no ground either, so it was time to tap out. So unfortunately, Finn does go down quickly to 0-1. Crown now up by 1 in this best of 7 clan war. Once again, guys, this is for the URTL. These are the games that aren't casted on the schedule on TL. These are just the ones that were played, and we didn't have room enough to schedule them in. So I am casting at least 2 clan wars for you this week. And yeah, if you guys like it, go to UR Gaming. And, you know, Google that, follow us on Twitter and stuff like that, and thanks to our sponsors, really quick as the first game, this is thanks to our sponsors, ST2 Gears, I think most of you know what that is, Origin PC, where you can build and buy PC, and our last one, Next Level SC2, guides, videos, etc., go check that out, and, thanks all. I'll go into the next game real quick. Don't go anywhere. Best of 7, Finn versus Crown. See you in a minute.